Hello students, welcome back to the channel, and today we will start with second part of the lesson The Sound of Music from Beehive, and the name of the lesson is The Shehnai of Bismillah Khan. Now students, I hope you know about Bismillah Khan. He was a Shehnai maestro. He was basically a legendary Shehnai player and was the first musician who introduced Shehnai in the world classical stage. He was awarded with the highest civilian award, that is Bharat Ratna Award also, and many more awards backed by him. Now in the story deals with the early life of Bismillah Khan. He was born in Dumrao in Bihar. His grandfather was the Shehnai Nawaz of the Bhojpuri king's court. Now students, this lesson is an effort to understand Indian classical musicians and instruments, especially by origin of Shehnai and Shehnai maestro Ustad Bismillah Khan. Shehnai replaced Pungi, which had an unpleasant sound. Now Pungi's tonal quality was improved by Yanai of Shah, and hence it was named as Shehnai. Now let's begin to the lesson in details. Think of the Shehnai, and the first thing you will probably imagine is a wedding or a similar occasion or function. The next would probably be Ustad Bismillah Khan, the Shehnai maestro, playing this instrument. Now students, you can also see many musicians' pictures is there on the screen, and last we can see Ustad Bismillah Khan with his musical instrument, that is Shehnai. So he was a well-known Shehnai player. Emperor Aurangzeb banned the playing of a musical instrument called pungi in the royal residence, for it had a shrill, unpleasant sound. So it's a time when Emperor Aurangzeb used to rule, and he banned that pungi, which was a musical instrument. And why he banned? Because that pungi produced a shrill, unpleasant sound, not very good to hear. Now pungi became the generic name for reeded noisemakers. Few had thought that it would be revived one day. So basically pungi used to come under the group of the musical instrument which had lot of noisemaker, and nobody knew even that one day this pungi musical instrument would be revived as well. A barber of a family of professional musicians who had access to the royal palace decided to improve the tonal quality of the pungi. So a barber of a family of a professional musician was decided that he is going to improve that tonal quality, that is the musical quality of that instrument. And what he did, he chose a pipe with a narrow hollow stem that was longer and broader than the pungi. And then what he did, he made 7 holes on that body of that pipe. And when he used to play that holes by opening and closing of that holes, a very soft and melodious kind of noise was produced from that pungi. So basically this pungi has been revised and revived too. He played the musical instrument before the royalty, and everyone was impressed. Of course, because that shrill sound was not at all heard by this new musical instrument. Now the instrument, so different from the pungi, had to be given a new name. As the story goes, since it was first played in the Shah's chamber and was played by Anai, the instrument was named as Shehnai. So students, you can see that how that instrument was termed as Shehnai, because it was made by Anai and was played by Nai in the court of Shah, that is the emperor. So it termed as Shehnai. Now you can see in the picture also, the student just see that pungi and Shehnai is there, and you can see that the picture of Shehnai, it is a long hollow pipe with several openings on it. So this is how this pungi musical instrument has been revived to Shehnai, and a new name was given. The sound of the Shehnai began to be considered auspicious, and for this reason it is still played in temples and is an indispensable component of any North Indian wedding. Now Indispensable means very important, and auspicious means which is promising to be good fortune, to bring good fortune. So Shehnai, till now also we can hear students that in the occasions of wedding ceremony, we still hear the musical instrument Shehnai is being played. In the past, the Shehnai was a part of the Naubat or traditional ensemble of 9 instruments found at royal courts. Now, what is Naubat? It was the group of the 9 musical instruments which was played in the Shah court, and Shehnai was one of those Naubat, one of those musical instruments which was played in the royal court. Till recently, it was used only in temples and weddings. So it was earlier used in temples and weddings and many other auspicious ceremonies. The credit for bringing this instrument onto the classical stage goes to Ustad Bismillah Khan. Earlier, it was only played in the temples and in auspicious ceremonies, including of wedding. But Ustad Bismillah Khan was the one who introduced this musical instrument onto the world classical stage. Then people came to know about this musical instrument. Now, as para 3, as a 5-year-old, Bismillah Khan played Gilli Danda near a pond in the ancient estate of Tumrao in Bihar. Now, from this paragraph, the early childhood of Bismillah Khan has begun, and his native place was Tumrao in Bihar. Like other village children, he used to play Gilli Danda when he was 5 years old. He would regularly go to the nearby Bihaji temple to sing the Bhojpuri Chaita, for which he used to get 1.25 kg of laddu from that Maharaja, local Maharaja, and he used to get the prize for singing beautifully. This happened 18 years ago, and the little boy has travelled far to earn the highest civilian award in India, that is the Bharat Ratna Award. So you can see a long journey. He just started from early childhood of 5 years old to 80 years old, and then he earned the highest civilian award of Bharat Ratna by Indian government. Born on 21 March 1916, Bismillah belongs to a well-known family of musicians from Bihar. So his family was totally a musical family who used to play music. His grandfather, Rasul Baks Khan, was the Shehnai Nawaz of the Bhojpuri King's Court, and his father, Paigambar Baks, and other paternal ancestors were also the great Shehnai players. So you can see, students, that his whole family, be it his grandfather, be his father or paternal ancestor, all of them were the great Shehnai player. So he got this talent from his early life from his family itself. The young boy took to music early in life. At the age of 3, when his mother took him to his maternal uncle's house in Benares, Bismillah was fascinated watching his uncles practice Shehnai. So, in maternal side also, he used to see his uncle playing Shehnai, and he was fascinated towards this music instrument. Soon Bismillah started accompanying his uncle Ali Baks to the Vishnu temple, where Baks was employed to play the Shehnai. So over there, Baks was the person who was employed to play Shehnai instrument out there in the temple, to which he was captivated that how beautifully his uncle is playing Shehnai. Since then, he also started practicing. Slowly, he started getting lessons in playing the instrument and would sit practicing throughout the day. Now look at the dedication of little Bismillah Khan. From his very early childhood of his age, he was very much into that musical instrument also. He was attracted towards Shehnai, and soon he began practicing long hours in the day. And then where he used to practice? He used to go to the temples of Balaji and Mangalamaya and on the banks of the river Ganga, where he used to sit for long hours in solitude and practice all alone. The flowing waters of the Ganga inspired him to improvise and invent ragas that were earlier considered to be beyond the range of Shehnai. So earlier, his parents used to play Shehnai as a normal music instrument, but this Ustad Bismillah Khan, this man, improvised by improving and putting the different ragas which was almost impossible for others to introduce in Chennai. But this man did because of his dedication and improvisation in learning and practicing music. At the age of 11, Bismillah accompanied his uncle to the Allahabad Music Conference. So when he was 14 years of age, he accompanied with his uncle to Allahabad Music Conference, and there he gave his performance, to which Ustad Faiz Khan petted this little boy and said, "Work hard and you shall make it." So he was also appreciated over there itself. With the opening of the All India Radio in Lucknow in 1938 came Bismillah's big break. So earlier times there was no TV or no internet and computer to or other source of entertainment. Only it was All India Radio, a kind of communication where people used to hear music and songs and get entertained. So he got his big break when he performed on All India Radio, and soon he became the most often heard Chennai player on radio. When India gained independence on 15 August 1947, Bismillah Khan became the first Indian to greet the nation with his Shehnai. So he got the golden opportunity of playing Shehnai and giving Shehnai performance on the stage in Red Fort when India got independence in front of huge audience and lot many like other dignitaries, including Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru, who later gave his famous Tryst with Destiny speech. Now, Bismillah Khan has given many memorable performances both in India and abroad. So he was the man who gave very excellent and memorable performances, and he became the national and international personality. His first trip to abroad was Afghanistan, where King Zahir Shah also was taken and appreciated by his performance, and so he rewarded this man with Persian carpet and souvenirs. So not only over here we can see King of Afghanistan was appreciating and was fascinated and impressed by his music, but also film director Vijay Bhatt was also impressed after hearing his performance of Shehnai. And what he did, he named a film after the instrument, which was named as Goonj Uthi Shehnai. So Goonj Uthi Shehnai basically was the film which was named after the Shehnai performance of Bismillah Khan, and Vijay Bhatt was also impressed by this man. So this was about like his achievement. Now this film turned to be a big hit, and his composition Dil Ka Khilona Hai Toot Gaya was turned as to be the national wide chart blockbuster, and this song became very, very famous. But despite this huge success in the celluloid world, Bismillah's venture in film were limited to two only. So apart from getting so much of, despite of getting so much of like appreciations and a lot of awards and all, he just bagged two movies. One was of Vijay Bhatt's Goonj Uthi Shehnai, and another was Vikram Srinivas' Kannada venture Sanadhi Apanna. And what was the reason? To which Bismillah Khan said, "I just can't come to terms with the artificiality and glamour of the film world." So he was basically a real man, a very simple and down-to-earth person, not at all attracted toward the glamour and artificial glamour rather of the Bollywood industry. And so he did not face toward that world and involved himself into Shehnai more deeply. Awards and recognitions came thick and fast, means he bagged many awards very early, very soon. Bismillah Khan became the first Indian to be invited to perform at the prestigious Lincoln Center Hall in USA. So these are the achievements what he was getting from various countries. He also took part in the World Exposition in Montreal, in Cannes Art Festival, and in Osaka Trade Fair. So well known that he became internationally that an auditorium in Tehran was named after him. Tahar Mosiki, Ustad Bismillah Khan. Now students, you can see that how much famous he became, not only in India but in abroad also. He was called in USA in the prestigious Lincoln Center Hall to perform in Osaka Trade Fair, in Cannes Art Festival, and top of that, one auditorium in Tehran was named after him. So this was all the honor which was given to him. National awards like Padma Shri, Padma Bhushan and Padma Vibhushan was also conferred to him. So he bagged many prestigious Indian awards as well. In 2001, he awarded with the Bharat Ratna, that is the highest civilian award. With the coveted award resting on his chest and his eyes glinting with rare happiness, he said, "All I would like to say is, teach your children music. This is Hindustan's richest tradition. Even the West is now coming to learn our music." So when he was getting such a highest prestigious award, he was very happy. He was overwhelmed by getting these awards. And so he said that Indian parents should inculcate the habit of teaching music to their children. They should teach that how India is rich in its culture and has got the richest tradition. Even the Western peoples are adopting our music, classical music. So it is the duty of every Indian parent to teach children their traditional culture and rich culture. In spite of having travelled all over the world, Khan Saab, as he is fondly called, so he was called as Khan Saab. He was called as Khan Saab and exceedingly fond of Banaras and Dumrao, and they remain most of the wonderful towns of the world. So he was known as nicknamed as Khan Saab, and he was very fond of his places Banaras and Dumrao, where he used to stay in his early childhood. A student of his once wanted him to head a Shehnai school in the USA, and the student promised to recreate the atmosphere of Banaras by replicating the temples there. So what has happened, once a student of him in USA wanted that this legendary person should come up over there and should open that atmosphere of Banaras out there. But Khan Saab asked him if he would be able to transport river Ganga as well. So we can see that how patriotic this man was. He said, okay, fine, you can replicate the city of Banaras out there in USA, but tell me, can you bring that flowing water of Ganga over there? To which this man had no answer. The student was speechless by seeing that attachment towards its own nation of Bismillah Khan. And he said, that is why wherever I am in foreign country, I keep yearning to see Hindustan. So these are the lines which portray his patriotism. Now patriotism is not only losing life or giving up the life. One can also show patriotism in various ways. As Bismillah Khan said that yes, whenever he is there in abroad, he always keep Hindustan in his heart, in his mind and soul. That is why I keep yearning to see Hindustan. While in Mumbai, I think of only Benares and the holy Ganga. And while I am in Benares, I miss the unique matta of Dumrao. So you can see, well, he is out of India, he miss India. But when he is in Mumbai, he miss Benares and holy Ganga. And when he is in Benares, he miss the matta of Dumrao. Now matta of Dumrao, matta is quite unique thing out there in Benares. So in Dumrao. So he was fond of this matta. Ustad Bismillah Khan's life is a perfect example of the rich cultural heritage of India. So we can see obviously he was a perfect example of the rich cultural heritage of India. Being Muslim, he never thought that he should not go to Hindu's temple and perform over there. He effortlessly accepted that he was a devoted Muslim, but he could not stop him to perform in the temples, and very naturally he played Shehnai every morning at the Kashi Vishwanath temple. So students, we can see that religion did not come and cross the hurdle in his singing or playing Shehnai. He was a man of rich culture, and he has extremely talented person. He never looked back that no, he is a Muslim and so he should not perform in the temples. He did it effortlessly, and daily he used to go to Kashi Vishwanath temple to play Shehnai. Ustad Bismillah Khan passed away on 21 August 2006 at the age of 90 after a prolonged illness. So on this particular day, 21 August 2006, this soul was demised and he was dead after long illness. He was 90 when he died. He was given a late state funeral, and the government of India declared one day of national mourning. So he was that honorable person that when he died, even the national government declared one day of national mourning, that no other TV or programs were telecasted on All India Radio or on TV. So this was the impact of this legendary Shehnai player. I hope students will have understood the lesson. This was all about Bismillah Khan and Evelyn Glennie, who was throughout their years in their life dedicated their life in learning music and in teaching music, and thus they gained lots of achievement and success in their life. So passion is everything. This is how we should pursue our passion, and I hope students will have understood this lesson. Thank you.